1961 to 1963 Oldsmobile Jetfire. The Oldsmobile Jetfire is the poster child for the innovation penalty. As the world's first turbocharged production car, it was a technological marvel. But in practice, it was an unreliable and overly complicated disaster. Its 215 CI aluminum V8 was turbocharged to produce 215 horsepower, an impressive 1 horsepower per cubic inch. The fatal flaw was the turbo system itself. To prevent engine-destroying detonation with its high 10.25:1 compression ratio, it required a fluid injection system that sprayed a mixture of distilled water and methanol, dubbed turbo rocket fluid, into the intake charge under boost. This system was notoriously complex and prone to leaks. Owners frequently forgot to refill the fluid reservoir, which would trigger a safety mechanism that severely limited engine power. Frustrated owners flooded dealerships with complaints. Unable to reliably fix the complex system, many dealers were authorized by Oldsmobile to simply remove the entire turbo setup and replace it with a conventional 4-barrel carburetor, a conversion that was offered to customers free of charge. As a result, finding a Jetfire with a complete functional turbo system today is very rare. Restoring one requires expert knowledge and custom rebuilt parts, a process that can easily cost more than the car's final value. Hagerty values a top-condition 1962 Jetfire at $47,000, but a project car is valued at only $15,000. 1962 Dodge Dart. The 1962 Dodge Dart is another car cursed by bizarre styling and its orphan status within the Mopar family. It was a downsized, radically redesigned model that was met with confusion and derision from the public. Described as a vision from a fever dream, with a bizarro front end featuring quad headlamps at different heights. While it could be ordered with the legendary 413 Max Wedge V8, turning it into a formidable drag strip weapon, these versions are exceedingly rare and valuable. The vast majority sold were mundane commuters. The critical issue for restorers is that the 1962 model features a one-year-only body style. This means that trim, glass, and body panels are nearly impossible to find. Restoring one almost certainly requires a donor car, which is just as difficult to locate. With virtually no reproduction parts support and minimal collector value for non-Max Wedge cars, the 1962 Dart is a project to avoid at all costs. 1967 Buick Grand Sport 340. The 1967 Buick GS 340 is a prime example of a parts orphan. It was a one-year-only model featuring a small displacement 340 Ci V8 that produced 260 horsepower. It was created as a lower-cost entry into the Grand Sport line, but was overshadowed by the more powerful and desirable GS 400. Its design was understated, lacking the muscular stance of its peers. The critical issue for owners in 2025 is parts availability. The 340 was a unique engine, not sharing many components with other Buick V8s. Finding internal components or even basic rebuild kits like pistons and bearings is a major challenge for restorers, often requiring custom fabrication. Its value is low, reflecting its undesirable status as a forgotten middle child between the common Skylark and the mighty GS 400. Hagerty does not list the GS 340 specifically, but related 1967 Skylarks are valued low, and even the much more desirable Riviera GS is valued at only around $24,600. A running example might be a decent cruiser, but if the engine ever requires a major rebuild, the owner faces a bill that will dwarf the car's value.
All is the 1967 Ford Mustang Super Snake, which was built as a promo car for Goodyear as it looked to promote its new Thunderbolt tire range. Wanting to offer up something special for the event, Shelby lifted a 427 cubic inch V8 from the Ford GT40 Mach 2 and dropped it into the engine bay of a stock Mustang GT5 Otter. Crazy power plant produced Herc's 100 horsepower, and only one example of the car was ever produced.
1968 Mercury Montego MX base models. The base model 1968 Mercury Montego MX takes the disappointing formula of the slant 6 Coronet and makes it even worse by putting it in a slightly heavier, more luxurious, and even more forgotten package. The base engine for the entire Montego line was a 200 CI inline-6, making a truly pathetic 115 HP. The optional base V8 was a 2-barrel 302 CI with only 210 HP. This was Mercury's version of the Ford Fairlane and Torino, but it never gained the same market traction or enthusiast following, especially in its base form. As a result, its values are in the absolute basement of the classic car market. Hagerty has recorded recent auction sales of Montego MX models for as low as $3,300. J.D. Power lists an average retail value of just $12,950 for V8 models, with 6-cylinder cars being worth even less. These cars are also prone to common issues like transmission problems and severe rust, making a cheap example a potential money pit. If a slant 6 Coronet is a disappointment, a 6-cylinder Montego is a tragedy. It is slow, obscure, and has no collector value.
Claiming the runner-up spot is the 1970 Dodge Coronet RT convertible, specifically version sold with the optional 426 cubic inch Hemi V8. Designed to control the racetrack in the early 1960s, the 425 horsepower Hemi was made street-worthy for 1966 so the Dodge could use their engine in NASCAR. It was available in a wide range of Mopar vehicles during the 60s, though it was not a popular option due to its high purchase price. It was at its rarest in the 1970 Coronet convertible, with only 2 Hemi-powered examples ever being sold. High-power versions of the car weren't exactly popular, as only 16 drop-top Coronet RTs were sold in 1970 with the slightly less powerful 440 cubic inch 6-pack engine.
1971 to 1978 Cadillac Eldorado. There's nothing that screams American luxury more than a big Cadillac. The Eldorado is the biggest, most opulent, and most iconic of those big Cadillacs from the brand's heyday. The 1970s models were the zenith of that American-style opulence. This was especially the case in the early 70s, before the oil crisis hit. After that point, the Eldorado became a smaller car, and its big V8s were neutered in the name of efficiency. The Eldorado was one of the most expensive American cars of its day. But surprisingly, it's quite easy to find them on the used market. Much like the Lincoln Continental it was a rival to, you might have to do a little bit of searching to find one that's in excellent condition. But even one that's rough around the edges will give you that great American luxury car feel.